30 years ago, 55 years ago, 60 years ago, what was being said? And when you start to listen to what was being said, when you get to a point where you hit a snag and you say, wait a minute, is that right? Am I convinced about what was happening at that moment? When you get to that point, I want you to stop and reflect and start to focus. Here's mine. Here's a snag in my life. I've been very vocal about the fact that I was molested from 8 to 12. But what I haven't been vocal about is the fact that I enjoyed it, loved it. 2 o'clock in the morning, I wake up to someone who is 27 years older than me touching my rear end. And I can say that it was painful. Because there were moments when I cried. I can say that it was painful. And I can move on and I can go past. But I couldn't move on until I admitted to myself that I enjoyed it. And that happened after I became successful. What is it, if you go back and listen to the soundtrack of your life, that you will stop and say, what am I not convinced about? What do I have to go back and truly understand so that I can move on to the next level of X? We talk. You talk. Do you talk to yourself? Do you understand what you're saying? Are you talking just to talk? Are you talking just to have a conversation? Because sometimes you don't need to talk. Silence is as golden as real gold. Because it's what's happening from the inside that you have to believe. Listen to the soundtrack. And when you listen to the soundtrack and you actually connect to what's really going on, what's really happening. Because we all have a journey, we all started from somewhere, and we can all tell you what is successful. But what is it about that journey? What is it about what you're hearing from your own mouth, from your own core? What is it that makes you stop and say, wait a minute, what do I have to do to own this? Because when you do, that's when you'll find your truth. You'll find your truth. Find the truth. But truth is not the end. It doesn't stop there. Because if I told you to come up here and stand on the edge, and I told you to fall back, would you fall back? If I told you you are no longer allowed to walk forward, and I said you have to walk backwards, this is how you have to walk throughout the rest of your life, could you do it? And at what point would you become so fearful that you have to turn around? At what point would that happen? Do me a favor. Imagine you're on a mountain and you are walking backwards. You're walking backwards and you have to start to focus on what it is that you're going after. But you can't see it. So if you can't see it, you have to believe it. If you can't see it, you have to go back and say, am I truthful? Am I giving the truth to what I'm moving toward? Because if you can see it, you can make any kind of vision you want. You can say, I can see this person, I can see that person. That's happening, yes, I can visualize it. But what if you're moving backwards and the only thing you have to go off is back to the soundtrack of your life and you have to believe the truth that's happening right now? How are you moving backwards? You are here to build a business. But what is the best way that this business is going to be built? It's definitely not by lying. It's definitely not by putting up the facade, right? It's about finding the truth. It's about going back and listening, like, do I really believe this? Like, do you actually believe what is happening? Do you actually believe that you can do it? Because if you believe it's happening, if you go back and connect to your truth, if you go back and listen to the soundtrack, if you go back and find that thing that may have stopped you, then you will be able to continue and you will be able to connect. And when you're walking backwards, you're going to find something. And this thing that you're going to find, oh my goodness, let me tell you right now. Like, oh my God. This thing that you find, this thing that you're going to find is so unbelievably valuable. If you go back and actually listen and love and believe that what you're doing and what you're feeling is the truth when you go out and you speak to people. Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I say to you. It does not matter what I say to you. It matters 100% what you say to yourself. And if you're telling yourself the right thing, and if you go to that point and you begin to walk backwards, and you begin to reflect on what is happening and what you did, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be right behind you, and the person that's leading you is you, and you will be able to trust and believe in who you are. You. And that's to say, I'm just letting you know, people are moving forward. We're moving forward. In track and field, you start, boom. You move forward. I got 10 hurdles. I got 10 barriers to get out the way. I got 10. I'm like, boom, let me get these 10. Then I think I get the 10, and then I'm good. But let me tell you something. It's nothing like the end of a race. Because truly, there's no such thing. Because when you have truth in who you are, and when you begin to be able to walk backwards and know that you have your own back, or when you stand at the end of the stage, and if you were to fall, you will be able to say cheers to the fall. If you have the truth and the trust, the next thing you have will be so amazing. And I'm just like so excited. So I want to take you on a little journey. I want all of us to do this. You know how they say, you can't throw stones in glass houses, you know what I'm saying? Imagine you live in a glass house. Like, you live in a glass house. I mean, you can see everything, you know what I'm saying? Like, you get up, you brush your I sleep naked, so I'm like, I get up. I be like, But imagine you live in this glass house, right? You can see everything. Is the thing that you're saying that you're doing in the glass house, is that the same thing you're telling people that you're doing on the outside? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you actually believe what you're saying? Oh my goodness, so I don't know if y'all know, but you have to watch Netflix, and there's a show called Black Mirror. Anybody ever seen it? No. So y'all need to get it pulled up. Like, this is So imagine you have this chick, right? And there's this one episode where there's this chick, and they basically they can cut open the back of your ear. And then they put this chip in your brain. And what this chip does, it lets you be able to rewind your entire life. You can see everything. I mean, everything. When I tell you everything. Like, if you work out today, you a bitch, you lying, everything. Everything. But let me tell you something. So in the scene, one of you showed this guy was like crazy. Like, you would think he was like a nightmare. Like, he just knew his wife was cheating on him, and at the end he just knew that, he was like, this baby is not my baby. She was like, I didn't cheat on you. And he was like, rewind it, put it on the TV. Oh no, I only knew this guy for a week. Rewind it, put it on the TV. Turns out she known him for 6 months. Oh, you know, like, I only slept with him once, you know, when you went away. Did you use a condom? Yes, put it on the TV. So if I ask you to put it on the TV, if the person you are talking to on social media says, put it on the TV, would you be able to put it on the TV? Let me tell you something. I can't put it on the TV right now. Because the 0% of you who are perfect, congratulations. I can't put it on the TV, but that's why we're here today. Because time is the hidden mechanism of a micrometer which is of such an accord that I cannot, without a reasonable state of doubt, state the correct time. The only time you have is now. And when you're looking in that glass house at yourself, because you notice I didn't say everyone else can see in the glass house. I said, if you can look in the glass house, you will have transparency. This is Shaun T's real 3 T's right here. If you tilt, tuck, and tighten your way to a mental rocking body, let me tell you something, you will be able to dig deeper than you've ever dug before, and you will understand and realize that the work doesn't begin until you get tired, and then you can focus and nail it all the way until you reach your max, and when you do that, it will be the end of exercise for your body and the beginning of exercise for your life. And always, at the end of the day, if you feel like you're gonna fall, who do you have to call?
Yourself.
Call yourself. You have all the answers. If you have to listen back to the soundtrack of your life, stop. Listen. Understand. And believe the truth and what's happening. And listen, let me tell you something. We all go through something. I'm no special, you're no special than the person sitting next to you. We all go through something. If you're a person that was cheated on, if you're a person that cheated, so what are you going to do with it right now? Because after you listen to the soundtrack, and after you realize that you can trust who you are, and after you realize you can actually look in that glass house and be like, yeah, you can get it, like, yeah. Even if you have 100 pounds to lose, and to be very honest, there are people who have 0 pounds to lose and still don't want to look at themselves naked. But if you can do that, not only, which is to me the least important thing, not only will your business be able to grow, but your uniqueness will be able to shine through. Like your uniqueness, like, I don't, like, there's one thing, like, I love your after pictures, but I would say, and please clap, I would say that your after pictures only last for about a couple months, because then you gotta do it again anyway. Right? Like, this is not the same asylum body, trust and believe, like, no. And to be very honest, I don't want to be 4.1% body fat again because I was miserable. But I will say this. If you have truth in who you are moving forward, if you trust that you can catch yourself when you fall, and if you have transparency to you, everyone you talk to will believe it, you will believe it, and most importantly, you will always trust and believe in who you are. Thank you very much.